Here's one of the biggest questions of our time. How are we going to feed everyone on a planet with a rapidly changing climate? It's a huge challenge. And, a big part of the answer lies in the crops we depend on the most, like wheat. So today, let's break down how scientists are trying to literally design the wheat of the future.
It all starts here. From one tiny seed to a full-grown stalk of wheat, it's a pretty amazing biological journey, and it's the foundation of so much of our food. But that journey is getting riskier every single year, with things like unpredictable droughts that can just completely wipe out a harvest.
So, what if we could actually get ahead of this? What if we could build a better wheat plant from the ground up, one that's specifically engineered to be tougher, more productive, even when the water just isn't there? Well, that's the exact question scientists are tackling right now.
To get how they're doing this, we first have to understand the fundamental problem that every single plant breeder runs into. It's a real dilemma that's been stumping them for decades.
It's called genotype by environment interaction, or G by E for short. And here's the thing. Just because a plant has great genes doesn't mean it's going to be a winner. Think of it like a superstar tennis player. They might be completely unstoppable on a grass court, but then you put them on a clay court, and their whole game falls apart. Same amazing athlete, different environment, totally different result. It is exactly the same for plants.
So because of this G by E problem, breeders have to play this massive numbers game. Just look at the scale of this study from the Australian wheat belt. They tested over 1,800 different types of wheat across 10 different locations, just to figure out which ones would do best where. It's a huge, expensive, and super time-consuming process.
But what if there was a smarter way to do this? That brings us to a pretty major innovation from this research, a new way to make sense of all that environmental chaos.
It's a technique called Envirotyping. And the idea is, instead of treating every single field like it's a unique puzzle, Envirotyping uses these really clever computer models to find the underlying patterns, specifically the patterns of water stress. It's all about finding the signal in all that environmental noise.
And the results? Well, they're really powerful. All of that complexity from 10 different trial locations, all those unique drought patterns, can be boiled down into just 3 clear, understandable groups.
And these groups, they're actually pretty simple to understand. You've got environment type 1, which has plenty of water. Type 2 gets a little stressed out late in the season, after it flowers. And then there's type 3, which gets hit with severe drought stress early on, even before it starts to flower. All of a sudden, this messy problem starts to look a lot simpler.
Okay, so classifying the environment is one huge piece of the puzzle. But what about the plant itself? This is where the second key idea comes into play, a very specific trait that gives some wheat plants a major leg up. It's called the stay green trait, and yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the plant's ability to keep its leaves green and working for longer, especially during that last crucial stage when it's pumping nutrients into the grain. Just think of the leaves as tiny solar panels. Staying green means the energy factory stays open for business longer, which means a bigger final product.
And look, this isn't just some casual observation like, oh, that plant looks greener. Scientists are precisely tracking the greenness of each plant over its entire life with sensors. This data lets them map out a unique greenness curve for every single plant, telling the whole story of when it was most productive. It lets them zero in on the absolute elite, stay green performers.
All right, so we've got these 2 powerful tools, Envirotyping to understand the location, and the stay green trait to identify the best plants. So what happens when you combine them and really put them to the test?
Now, when they first looked at the data, something popped out that seemed, well, a little complicated. In most of these dry environments, plants that flowered late tended to produce less grain. And that makes sense, right? They have less time to get the job done before the real heat and drought of the late season kicks in. This brings up a really critical question. Is this stay green advantage actually a real thing? Or is it just a side effect of some plants flowering earlier and, just getting lucky and avoiding the worst of the drought? Could we be mixing 2 things up?
And this is where the science gets really cool. The researchers basically controlled for that variable. They compared apples to apples, looking only at groups of plants that all flowered at the exact same time. And the result? Crystal clear. The strong, positive link between stay green and higher yield was still there. It's a real independent advantage, no doubt about it.
So just how big of a deal is this combined approach? The numbers are just staggering. Using Envirotyping to group the fields, scientists could explain 75% of the performance differences between wheat varieties under the absolute toughest drought conditions.
And what about that stay green trait? Well, thinking out the best stay green plants pointed to a potential yield boost of up to 1.1 tons per hectare. Let me tell you, in the world of farming, that is a massive gain.
To put that another way, in those really tough, water-starved fields, this translated to a relative yield gain of almost 19%. That's a kind of jump that can seriously change the game for farmers and, really, for all of us.
So, what does this all add up to? Well, it's way more than just an interesting science experiment. This is about drawing a roadmap for the future of agriculture.
What this study gives us is a blueprint. It's a practical, powerful strategy that breeders can use right now to stop guessing and start designing. They can now pick plants that are truly built for the specific drought challenges they're going to face. You know, the researchers themselves really sum it up perfectly. They say that combining envirotyping with screening for traits like stay green are powerful assets for breeders. It's all about helping them build the tougher, more reliable crops we're all going to need.
It kind of leaves you with a pretty cool thought, right? We're always looking for these big, complex, silver bullet solutions. But what if one of the most important keys to our future food supply is as simple and really as elegant as a plant's ability to just stay green a little bit longer?